Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, the first episode of 2018. Welcome to the new year. This is episode 247, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. It's January 4th. You're watching it on the 5th or later. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magicman, your host for the year, or at least today. You know, anything could happen tomorrow. Who knows? Joining me, we've got our panel to ring in 2018. We're going to talk about our predictions last year and which ones we may have fallen flat on our face with and which ones we may have gotten right, if we got any right. We'll talk about our 2018 predictions, and then seriously, we're going to start the new year passing around blame. All right, we'll go ahead and do that too. But joining us to discuss it all, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm from the land of the free where we pump our own gas.
Oh, for God's sake. Here we go again. Here we go again. Yeah, apparently, by the way, and I know some, besides Zach, I know some other people in Oregon, and this is like a story everywhere but Oregon. Like, they don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen comments on some of the articles. Like, I've been in Oregon for 30 years and had people pump my gas, and I can't stand this.
Oh, jeez. Whatever. Also on the line, and fellow gas pumper, well, now having to be a gas pumper soon, unless he moves before it all takes effect, Mr. Zach Sharps, what's up?
Well, I'll be moving into a gas pumping state, so it's not really going to affect me. But I don't know. Just mail us ballots, we'll vote on it. It'll get declined. And, yeah, Oregon's just weird. It's just how we are.
Because there aren't so many bigger things. Even the Amish pump gas, for God's sakes. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Into what? Their horses?
Even the I don't know if you know this, Jason, but gas can be used for other items besides just automobiles. Touche. Let's get started with the news, because we're going to be here forever if we keep up with this shit. All right, so let's, 2017 comes to a close. We're now in 2018, a few days in. So let's kind of start with what did we predict and what did some of our readers and viewers predict going into 2017 and how well or not well those things panned out. I think let's start with the readers first, Jason. Were there any extraordinary predictions, big surprises that we did see come true or just totally didn't see come true and is just a mess of a prediction from the readers last year?
Our readers did not make a single error in their predictions because the article was one of those ones that got screwed up and wasn't able to leave comments on, so there were none on it.
No.
So skip over that part.
That's not exactly what I meant, but that's okay.
What else is there?
I meant the recap from their previous 2016 and the 2017 ones, just to give us an idea of how well the predictions had gone the year before. But that's okay.
So going the year before. Oh, geez, we recapped that last time.
Well, I didn't want a full recap. Just how well did they do going from 2016 to 2017?
Okay, well they did okay.
They did okay, right? I mean, Firefall did shut down. Then, well, it was sold and then shut down.
Interesting that one of them, now that I'm reading one of them over, one of them said, hi-rez paladins will try too hard to emulate Overwatch. It's not the game it's trying to emulate, but okay, you know, they tried something.
You know.
They're trying too hard to do something.
So the readers going into, from 2016 into 2017, okay. Jason and the staff, more specifically Jason, but some of these have inputs from the staff. We made some pretty weird predictions going into 2017 as a whole here. And I think we managed to get, what, 2 right?
I counted a success rate of 70%.
All right, let's go through these. Let's go through these. So we predicted the Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online will operate throughout the year of 2017. I think unequivocally, none of us can argue. They are still online. 2017 has ended. Success, right?
Yes, absolutely. 100% there.
And I don't think any of us were speculating the DDO was going to go anywhere. We were more looking towards the Lord of the Rings and what's particularly going to happen with that license as it comes to an end. We still don't really know what's going to happen there, do we, Zach?
No, I mean, so far they have it, but who knows? I mean, not really been a lot of news other than Daybreak's working on a new game. Maybe they're going to work on a Lord of the Rings game. Who knows? Probably not, though.
Well, and on the new games front, we did make a couple predictions here. Turtle Rock was talking about doing a new game. We predicted that to be a dungeon grinder. I don't think that's one that I can give us credit for getting right yet on that one, Jason.
No, I guess not. I guess I should have split this one up into a 3-way on this one, so maybe dock down my success rate a little bit.
They haven't. They called it an esports focused title, but that was, or they weren't specifically not calling it an esports focused title. We went with kind of a dungeon grinder thing with PvE, kind of like a Warframe almost. But we still don't have anything from that, and losing the total development of Evolve, who knows what the hell's up with Turtle Rock Studios as a whole. So we can't chalk that one up. We also said Daybreak will do a hero shooter. That came from postings for jobs and things like that within the Daybreak community, waiting for or advertising for very specific MMO-like, first-person shooter-like, very specific buzzwords in the post that led that. Where are we on the status of that one, Jason?
Not really a whole lot more other than that they're still working on it, still working on a shooter, still free to play. So yeah, all we're still seeing is just the job listings on that.
All right, so far the only one that I'm giving us credit for is Lotro and DDO at the moment.
You skipped the one above that, but you know.
Oh,
sure.
did I? Was there one above?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this one was kind of, I think everybody had this one.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, technically we got this right, but I don't think anybody got this wrong. The two big sub games would not go free to play, and we've lost Zach for a second, but hopefully he'll. Oh, there he comes.
Hey,
he comes
he's
back.
Okay.
We lost two big sub games, won't go free to play or even buy to play. Speaking specifically World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, they did not. So okay, fine. Technically, I'll give you the percentage that we got that one right. But Zach, I don't think these were ever in danger, or anybody thought they would actually go free or buy to play in 2017, right? I don't even know if Zach can hear us.
Zach, can you hear us?
Zach cannot hear us.
Zach.
So we'll let Zach work his issues. Yeah, you down in that frame there.
Can he see us?
He can
he thinks
see
his laptop.
us.
Wait, he just sent us a message. His
laptop
laptop is what?
I think my laptop sound card just died.
We'll communicate using sign language now. I just watched The Shape of Water, so I know how to do all that stuff.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to drop Zach, and we'll just go to Jason and I until he's going to try restarting. All right. Jason, we'll keep going here.
Okay, sure.
I don't think
here, wait a minute. Let me get. Oh no, wait. How do you want me? Like this
Excuse
now?
me?
What do you want?
Oh man, look, your camera's all jacked up. Oh, look at that. So professional here. Hold on.
All right.
We will recover. We will recover the professionalism of the show. Sit upright.
That was gone long ago.
Doop.
Okay, it's all me. It's my show now. It's the Jason show.
It's now the Jason Winter show.
Okay.
So we'll get rid of that.
This is good. This is good.
And we'll do. We'll just leave you there.
Leave me here. I'm fine.
On the fly fixing MMO bomb viewers. There we go. You can sit up now. You're good.
Okay.
All right. Nobody thought they were going free to play. So
yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
We'll take that one away. But I got to give credit where due. Even though this may not technically have slipped into 2017, I'll give you the points. I'll give you the points on this one. Jason specifically predicted that hi-rez would do a Battle Royale game. And while they haven't done a Battle Royale game, per se, whole new game, credit where due, we just announced today, although we've known for a couple of days under embargo, that hi-rez, we actually knew before the year closed out that this was going to be a thing. Hi-rez introducing a Battle Royale mode into its popular hero shooter, Paladins. Jason, touche, good job.
Excellent. I don't know next week's lotto numbers, however, unfortunately.
Man, that would be nice. What do you think about this? Because I'll be honest, I kind of rolled my eyes when I initially saw the presser.
The trailer was just goofy as hell. I don't know. That kind of killed it for me. I guess Paladin's a little goofy overall. It's not like the most serious. It's not a PUBG kind of serious sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty. It's something a lot of people are going to be skeptical of, but you look at how survival or battle royale games do, and they do well, and or Paladins has that player base, enough of a player base, they might be able to work something out of it. But it is starting to feel like, and I think I get onto this later, it is starting to feel like that's the thing that everyone's glomming onto now, trying to imitate, trying to copy. So, and I don't know.
And hi-rez is obviously very adept at this. Oh, you can't just call into the show.
Whoa.
Can you hear us though?
Yes, I can. Whoa.
Okay, good. All right.
Windows was like, hey, apparently I want to update, and I'm just going to kill your sound card without telling you, and then force a restart.
This isn't a call-in show. You can't just...
We've got Zach from Oregon on the line. Zach, what do you think about hi-rez new Paladin shooter game?
Yeah, this isn't After Dark. You can't just call into this shit.
New year, new tech problems. Yeah.
New format. We're a call-in show now.
We were talking, Zach, about hi-rez making a battle royale mode in Paladins, and we were kind of at the point where I was getting Jason's take on it because... to be honest, I kind of rolled my eyes at it when I saw the presser, and oh my god, we're going this way, and Jason was making the point that most people are, and I was saying that hi-rez Studios is obviously very adept at this, right? MOBAs started exploding, in comes Smite. Card games started exploding, in comes Paladins, and now Smite Tactics with its card-based stuff. Hero shooters, Paladins, and granted, yeah, there's the whole Paladins was in development before Overwatch or after it, depending on whose story you believe. It really doesn't matter. Hi-rez has this tendency to kind of just follow the money rather than be what we might classify as an innovative company. They're more a reactionary company, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. They usually do things pretty well and pretty successfully, global agenda aside. So what are your thoughts on a battle royale mode in Paladins? Does this kind of fit the continued success structure of hi-rez, or is this just, Jesus, you're hopping on the bandwagon and come on?
I think it sounds like a terrible idea.
Really?
Yes. It smells of, this will be fun for the first few rounds until everyone plays the same exact hero because it's the best hero to play. Like, when I saw the trail, I'm like, okay, how are they going to do this with all the amount of heroes that they have? And then I saw that they just had all the heroes there. I'm like, and then the stealther came out and like assassinated someone. I'm like, wow, this is what this is going to be. Okay. And so I don't see it working at all. And I think if they wanted to copy sort of the success of like a PUBG or Fortnite, they should have just made a new game that would actually have a very good chance of succeeding instead of just a throwaway mode that almost no one plays once they figure out how unbalanced it is.
I agree with you on the end portion of that. I feel like if they wanted to do this, they should have just made a battle royale type game. I totally agree with that. It's what you did with Paladins. It's what you did with Smite. It's what you did, like, you didn't try and cram these modes in here, and Battle Royale is a strong enough, at least in the current market, is a strong enough gameplay mode where you can get away with launching a game where that is the only mode and have it be relatively successful. Now, whether that's the case 5 years from now, we'll see. So I agree with you there. I disagree on that this is a bad choice. I think from an outsider's perspective, somebody that doesn't play Paladins a lot, has never booted up PUBG, just doesn't even own it, doesn't care. I'm not into that whole method of gameplay. While I may not like it, Jason, I think Paladins fans will probably enjoy this and look at it as just yet another cool thing to do in their game. I don't know if I can attribute the throwaway nature that, Zach, I see what you're saying, but I don't know if I can go there where, hey, I did it once or twice, I don't need to do it anymore. I think this is, as long as it isn't a total mess, I think Paladins players will probably be pretty happy with this this addition. Much happier than Cards Unbound, I would say.
Well, yeah, anything better than that.
Jason, what's your take? Zach and I are almost there. We just differ on a small piece of this.
I think I agree that I think Paladins players will get into it to some extent, and they've got a large enough player base that they can afford to siphon some off into this new mode. I guess it's going to be monetized. I guess it's going to be the same thing. Just you can pay for your heroes or whatever. But yeah, I think it's not going to be something that really draws in a whole lot of new people. Like if I want to play like a cartoony battle royale, I'm probably going with Fortnite. If I want to play something more realistic, I do PUBG or H1Z1. I've never played Paladins other than like a little bit in the tutorial, so it's not something I want to get into to try out, just to try out their battle royale mode. So I think it can do all right. I don't think it's going to be explosive or anything like that. Not like Fortnite battle royale, but I think it can do okay. And like I said, it's going to get panned critically for some extent for being a copycat or whatever.
Absolutely.
But as long as they have the numbers, that's all they really care about. So.
Well, it's arguable that that's all hi-rez cares about. Hence that kind of reactionary. Oh, MOBAs are big. I will give them credit, not for this one, but for previous ones. They got on the bandwagons early enough that they weren't generally seen, Zach, as a copycat company. They got into the MOBA scene early enough that Smite wasn't just seen as a ripoff, or this game wasn't just seen as a ripoff, or this one wasn't. This one, I think they're a little late to the party, and it smacks of what you and Jason are saying. It's, oh, everybody has a Battle Royale mode now, so you're going to go ahead and add one. Also, why are you doing this in the midst of this controversy with Cards Unbound?
Don't get me wrong, though. Don't get me wrong. This could be a master play to market the game even more.
Absolutely.
Because think about it. BR, very big market right now. So if people see that there's a new BR game, or at least a new BR mode in already existing game, they might just hop into it, hate the mode, and then hop into the other modes and be like, oh, wow, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could have a very positive effect to Paladins overall. I just think that it's kind of as its own mode, unless they prove me wrong, which hi-rez has done numerous times, it isn't going to be that great. But we'll see.
To Jason's point and to your marketing point, there is a certain benefit to it not being a standalone game and thrown into a game that is already installed on thousands and thousands and thousands of computers. So we'll see. Jason, kudos to you, sir. I think that's close enough that we can count that one as being correct. It's not its own separate game, but it is basically a Battle Royale game in a game where a Battle Royale does not in any way, shape, or form exist. That's new enough. You get the thumbs up credit on that one.
3 for 3.
Perfect World Entertainment will gobble up at least one more prominent game. Now, I'm going to admit, when I went through this, I chalked that one up as a no. We did not get that. Obviously, they gobbled up Gigantic. We saw how well that worked out. Poor Gigantic, poor Motiga. But literally, this just came to me, and I don't think we can count it as getting the prediction right, but there is something to be said here for picking up the Magic the Gathering IP license to create a new game. They didn't technically acquire some other game or other game company, but it is definitely a big IP that is a big score for them. We'll see if it pans out.
Yeah, I was thinking more like an existing game that they would go after.
Right, that's why I don't give us credit for this one. It's just worth mentioning, I think.
Sure.
And I saw Zach nodding, so I'm not crazy.
I give it a half point, honestly.
Oh,
really? Wow,
I don't give it any.
Point.
I don't give it any points.
Dang.
But all right, Jason, I'm going to need to defer to you on this last one, assuming that you have looked these up because I have not.
No, I just totally made up the numbers.
There you go. That'll work. So the sales, our prediction was the sales totals for the next 4 quarters of NCSoft's games, that's Q4 2016 to Q3 2017, will be in this order, from top to bottom. Lineage, Blade and Soul, Lineage 2, Ion, Guild Wars 2, WildStar. Now, I would assume that we can knock 2 of these off the bat right away. I don't even have to look to say that Lineage is absolutely #1 still, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't have to look anything up to tell that WildStar is still absolutely at the bottom, correct?
Technically, we have no idea because they haven't shown the numbers, but unless something incredible
well, that's because,
happens.
they got lumped into other products.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Blade and Soul 2, Lineage 2 is the 3rd position, Ion is 4th position, and Guild Wars 2 5th. How close did we get?
Almost perfect. It was Blade and Soul, then Lineage 2, then Guild Wars 2 actually bumped ahead of Ion a little bit, partially due to them getting a little bit of a bump from their expansion, but more for Ion kind of really tailing off the last 2 quarters. They lost about a third of their revenue from the last 2 quarters.
And we did hear from NCSoft on that front, expressing that had a lot to do with the removal of sales packages that had been in the cash shop in Ion for a while, the discounted
PUBG's
stuff.
fault?
Yeah, everything's PUBG's fault. So,
yeah.
I don't know, Zach, I'm going to defer to you as the final ruler on this one. It's close, you know, but 5 out of 6 still isn't 100, or 4 out of 6, I guess, technically, is not 100%, but is it close enough for any points for Mr. Jason Winter?
I give him another half point. So he gained a full point off of partial credit.
All right, totally.
I like your score. You can be my teacher next time. Grade my tests.
Yeah, this is why he was so good at over/under.
Hedging all his bets.
Hedging all the bets. So not too bad. I guess if we go by Zach's scoring method, then yeah, you're probably around 70%, Jason. I'm a little more critical. Wouldn't have given you those half points, and that would put you at about 50%.
By Zach's method, I should get to 80%.
By Zach's method, you might be at 110%. We're not sure.
Dishing out them participation trophies.
There you go.
He's just making it rain prediction points. All right, so for this year, we have made 5 predictions. I want to get everybody's take on them very quickly. Again, these articles, both the 2017 predictions and our current 2018 predictions, are available on mmobomb.com. If you just go to the little search thing and press top, or type in top 2018, you'll see our new predictions. If you want to see our recap last year that set up the predictions for 2017, search out top 2017. The first one, again, I think is easy. The big 2 sub games, still not going free to play. Oh, I'm sorry. These are, yeah. I'm in the wrong article. All right, where do these start? The year of the Battle Royale, is that the first one?
Yep.
All right. So, Jason, officially we're declaring this the year of Battle Royale, where a few years ago we had MOBA. The last 2 years or so we've had the card games. I think Paladins proves the point here already, but I don't think that's going to be the end of this train.
No, I think we're going to see at least, I mean, because there are a lot of smaller games out there that make their battle royals, like Last Man Standing. It's a game Zach and I played a little bit. But in terms of, like, you know, decent sized companies we've heard of, probably going to be at least 3 or 4 of them. You know, at least on par with what Paladins is doing.
I don't think there's any argument there, Zach. You're just going to see the BR train roll through 2018 and get bigger.
Yeah, as far as big companies, I say under 5. Small companies, well over 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, all right, that one we're probably going to get. Something happens to WildStar and Carbine Studios. Now, something happens is a pretty vague term.
I'm going for those half points from Zach next year.
He's already building them. And we do know that, oddly, Carbine is hiring still for unannounced titles, and who knows what that means for the company as a whole. But looking at both Carbine Studios and WildStar, something's going to happen to one or both of those things this year. And I think, personally, this is the year of WildStar's demise. I think if you compare it to, like, the time when City of Heroes shut down, when you've compared it to other titles shutting down from the NCSoft stable, I think you're going to see the same type of thing happening, where there's a little bit of a push and an expansion in NCSoft stable. And so now let's get rid of those things. I kind of feel like WildStar's only survived as long as it has because NCSoft didn't really have anything else that it was trying to bring up, release, and put into its stable. And so fine, just let WildStar sit there. It's not eating up any opportunity cost. I think even if Carbine is the one that makes something, I think 2018 is the year WildStar goes away. That's my personal prediction on what this means. But for the site, we're going to leave it general. It's something happens with these two. What do you think, Zach?
Well, I predicted last year it would shut down, so I predict this year it will shut down. And then if it doesn't shut down by then, the next year after that, it will shut down. It's going to eventually shut down or make so little revenue that it might as well be shut down. But it might already be there, to be honest. But
at some point, you're guaranteed to be right.
Exactly.
When the heat death of the universe occurs, yeah, you'll be right. It'll shut down then.
Jason, when you worded it as something happens, did you have something in particular maybe in mind?
Either shutting down or being sold to someone else. Maybe that's where Perfect. Maybe it goes to Perfect World. Maybe that's my prediction from last year. But yeah, I just don't think it stays the same under the NCSoft Carbine banner this year as it did, or by the end of this year as it has at the start of the year.
Next up, LawBreakers will go free to play, and let's avoid our next item for discussion and just focus on the prediction that LawBreakers at some point will go free to play this year. I think, given our next piece of discussion, this is an absolute certainty, and it's going to happen in the first quarter. Personally, I would put it at first quarter. Any thoughts, Zach?
LawBreakers always bring the smile to my face. It's going to definitely be free to play or be shut down. Depends on what Nexon really wants to do with them. And I mean, judging by their language, I mean, it could be just shut down.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really hard to
definitely
tell.
an argument here for just shut down that I can't deny. I'm going to give it the benefit and say maybe it goes free to play to see if it can scrape some money first. But when we get to the next topic, even free to play might be stretching it at this point, Jason.
I feel like Cliff Bleszinski won't want to let it die just that easily, and he's talked
I don't
about
think he has
play
a
so many
fucking
times. I know he's
choice
not necessarily
anymore.
gonna have the power. Well, yeah, but again, maybe he finds a way to sell it to some other company or whatever. So I mean, I could see him doing everything he can to keep it alive because it's his baby now. So
You don't write off something you're trying to sell.
oh well, yeah, okay.
Our fourth one, Valve won't launch Artifact in 2018. I don't know about this one personally, but I would also go, I don't know if they launch Artifact at all, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of like the Paladins Battle Royale. Like, even if you just get a small number of your players, getting into it, Dota 2 has a lot of players. Assuming Dota 2 Artifact, there's the crossover there. So, even with that, even if it comes off as critically panned, if it makes money, maybe they still go with it. But I think they've realized how negative the feedback was, and realizing they have to really change it around to make it more palatable, or as you said, just never mind. We were kidding. That'd be one of those two, I think.
Zach, I think there's honestly should be discussions on maybe we shouldn't do this.
I mean, they didn't really show it off. So I mean,
Well,
how
that's
early?
true.
How early
One trailer.
was it? How early was it? I mean, if it was early enough, they might have just saw the reaction of the trailer and thought it over. Like, never mind. We're gonna forget about this ever happened. You know how we sort of treated Half-Life 3. This is gonna be the new Half-Life 3.
No, because people actually wanted Half-Life 3.
That's true.
And finally, we have a kind of a conglomerate prediction on games we will get to touch. We think we will get to touch these games some point in 2018. Now, we're not saying that they will go to full release or anything, but we believe that whether it's early access, closed beta, open beta, launch, whatever, that we will get our hands on, even if the general public may not have the opportunity to do so yet. Cryptic's Magic MMO, which we already alluded to earlier, I definitely see us getting our hands on that one this year at some point in some fashion. Daybreak's new shooter, personally, I'm not so sure about that one. Zach, what do you think?
It's Daybreak. I mean, what have they really
Savage.
done? What have they really done? I mean, they release a broken survival game in H1Z1. They maybe have kept this universe going, and it's been good, so that's all right. I mean, there's been some critical response to the whole revamp thing, so we'll brush that to the side. But other than that, what have they done?
That's the point. They have to do
know.
something else now.
Maybe they've been focusing all of their efforts on this and just completely neglecting everything, and this game is going to be amazing, or just be canceled like EverQuest Next.
All right, so I give the thumbs up to the Cryptic's Magic MMO. Zach gives the thumbs down to Daybreak's new shooter. And Jason, we'll go to you for your level of expertise here on the Splash Damage / Wargaming collaboration. What are your thoughts?
I have no idea what it is, but it sounds like it could be something interesting, and I think we're going to go ahead and get a shot at that also this year.
All right, those are our predictions. Let us know your predictions in the comments below, whether it's on this free-to-play cast or on the article itself. So that
Definitely, if you comment on the article, you are subjecting yourself to criticism.
To ridicule in next year's article. And if you don't think we've done it, check previous articles. Jason's Jason's gone in there. All right. Now, seriously, for a minute, we were talking about Lawbreakers, and I asked for a specific item to be avoided in that Lawbreakers discussion because I want to cover it separately here. As we mentioned, Nexon maybe not as hopeful anymore about Lawbreaker. Well, you know, they've just given up. They've just given up. They've actually just kind of, in their terms, written it off. They've written it off, Lawbreakers, as being anywhere near profitable or viable. Their quote from Nexon CFO, "We will not be accruing any other impairment loss pertaining to Lawbreakers in the future." Now, impairment loss is a decrease in an asset's book value that's greater than its cash flow. So basically, we ain't putting anything else on our balance sheet for Lawbreakers that costs us anything. This coming from PC Games, by the way. Although we covered it a little bit. Generally, it's not a free-to-play thing, but we wanted to put it up there because, yeah, Cliff Bleszinski and free-to-play. And they blamed it for the majority of their Q3 expenses, and it just went downhill from there. But the most staggering thing to me, Jason, was that as it continued to get worse and worse and worse from Nexon's own mouth, it got worse than I could possibly imagine when they started talking about why. Why? Here's the quote. Jason, tell me what you think. "Our results in North America in the third quarter were below our outlook, mainly due to sales from Lawbreakers being below our expectations. Lawbreakers is a unique first-person shooter developed for core users. We had very high expectations for its launch. However," here we go, buckle up, "the timing of its launch turned out to be unfortunate. Specifically, the blockbuster PC online game PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds came out right about that same time, making the market environment very tough for first-person shooters in general and for Lawbreakers." And when I read that, I sat back in my seat for a few moments saying, I can't believe they're saying this. Even for somebody as casual about shooters as me, Zach, I don't put these two games anywhere near each other on the gaming spectrum when I'm looking for games to play. And I am already super casual about shooters. So anybody to the left of this spectrum that's more hardcore shooters than me certainly isn't putting these two things in the same category. And I'm almost at the far right end of this spectrum on, I don't really care. The only people beating me that might put these in this are, hey, both of those games have guns, people. I don't... Really, Jason? PUBG as the reason, the primary reason for Lawbreakers' failure?
So, first he says that G came out about the same time as Lawbreakers.
False!
Lawbreakers came out in August. PUBG Early Access was in March. The full launch was in December. Whichever one you want to count those, they ain't close to August. And here's a funny little thing too. Also, I looked up H1Z1, which is very much like PUBG. In February, H1Z1, according to Steam charts, had about 42,000 average players. In March, when PUBG came out, 62,000 players. It actually went up when PUBG came out. So, even if you think they're related somehow, how does that fit your narrative?
Zach, this is just absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, their whole explanation could be summed up by saying, wrong. I mean, it's the most baffling explanation on why a game failed. And I mean, Lawbreakers should just now be called Lawbreakers because it's just a huge laugh out loud type execution and just reception across the board.
I love the note that was on one of the other sites said in December PUBG had a peak of 3 million players. Lawbreakers had a peak of 90.
Yeah, it's Lawbreakers. Let me put a list together for you gentlemen of things that I think could have been used as the excuse here before you got down the list to PUBG being the excuse. How about initially you weren't sure about your payment model, you said something publicly that you probably shouldn't have, and then you turned off a very large portion of people by changing and backtracking on that. All right, yeah, that probably should go before PUBG on the list of reasons. How about Cliff Bleszinski being kind of an asshole and a dick about the whole process from top to bottom? Yeah, that should probably go on the list before PUBG. How about making your game targeting an already niche audience in the hardcore, skill Twitch-based first-person shooter arena-type games? All right, you already knew you were going into a more niche market than the market of potential people that will play something as like PUBG. That's just 3 right off the top of my head, Jason.
And also, one of the things in an interview that I saw a couple months ago with Cliff Bleszinski and the other guy,
who's no longer there.
Yeah, who's no longer there. The other co-owner of Boss Key, where he says one of our mistakes was not focusing on our characters. We just focused on like action or whatever. And it's a good point because, like, you know, I think about Paladins. Like, I can name at least 3 or 4 Paladins characters. Yeah, Fernando, Evie, you know, a couple of those. I can't name a single LawBreakers character. I've never played either game. Not really interested in either, but I don't know any of the LawBreakers characters. So it's like, and you look at a game like Overwatch, which has gone in spades to try and make people know who their characters are, comics, videos, whatever. Granted, maybe with LawBreakers budget you can't do all that, but you could have done a little bit more than, you know, nothing.
I honestly think, Zach, the box price just totally killed this. It was dead in the water the minute they announced a box price to me. I think this would have had a chance as a free-to-play game. Yeah, you were already targeting a bit of a niche market, but you can hit that entire niche market with no barrier of entry making it free-to-play. People knew, generally, whether this was something they wanted to try out or not. What they weren't willing to do was shell out $30 to $60, depending on what you bought and when, to take the chance on the nostalgia feels. I think that was the death sentence right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where everyone started to just be annoyed by Cliffy B, and that's really why I keep calling him Cliffy B, because he keeps acting like Cliffy B. I mean, he hasn't changed his attitude, so why change his name? Just keep calling him the same thing as long as he acts the same. And this is really the issue that Nexon's running into, is they're trying, it seems like, from their language, they're trying so hard not to blame him without, you know, just completely having to throw logic out the window. Because there's no way that people at Nexon think that PUBG actually was a reason why LawBreakers failed. They just can't. They're too logical of a company besides this particular statement for them to think that. So I think they're just really trying hard not to throw him under, you know, the bus here. And as a result, they're just throwing logic through a table. So
you guys do know that Marvel Heroes closed because of PUBG, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yes.
All right.
Totally.
That's why Firefall shut down, too.
All right.
Exactly.
Keeping with the Steam topic, let's wrap this up with who pulled in the Steam dollars in 2017, and there might be some surprising free-to-play people on there. Now, we're not talking about box sales, things like that, although they do contribute to these total numbers. This is not the best-selling type list. This is the highest earners, so whether that comes from boxes, microtransactions, whatever the case may be, we're just looking at dollars at the end of the day. Jason, what are some of the titles that raked in the cash this year on Steam?
Well, like they did last year, Steam broke them down into a few different categories. Platinum had 12 games, Gold was the next 12, Silver was the next 16, and then Bronze was the rest of the 100. So for free-to-play games, there were 2 Platinum games, Dota 2 and Warframe. Now, Dota 2 had been Platinum last year, but Warframe moved up from the Gold tier to Platinum, so that's a really nice sign for them. They have all sorts of stuff. We've had articles about how they exploded in population, especially after Planes of Eidolon came out, so really good of them to get into
especially as Destiny 2 continues its downward trials.
Yeah, they were not deterred by PUBG, which, by the way, which obviously was in the Platinum category, not surprisingly.
Oh, gee, I am stunned.
So was H1Z1, though, it turns out, so, you know. Apparently that didn't matter either.
Oh, wait, but I thought, wait a minute. H1Z1 manages to maintain Platinum status against PUBG. But PUBG is the reason LawBreakers is closing. Or is doing something. It's being written off. It's being written off.
Yeah,
whatever.
The funny thing, that financial thing is it's from September, but people are only noticing it now, so
yeah.
I got to read those things more carefully next time.
I am surprised, not surprised at Dota 2 at all. I am surprised at Warframe. As much as I've been enjoying Warframe lately, and I have achieved Mastery Rank 10, so I'm still doing my thing there. Next week, I'll have my next Tales of a Newbie article detailing what I've been doing in there on MMO Bomb. So I am enjoying it. I am surprised to see it at Platinum, simply because of, now full disclosure, Digital Extremes occasionally does funnel me free Platinum. It's not like they just give me unlimited Platinum or anything. But they do dump Platinum on our press accounts occasionally. So I've had a little bit of Plat to work with here and there. But even when I haven't had any Plat, I haven't felt the need to buy anything with real money. I craft things and farm them up and sell some things for Plat to other people. So I'm actually surprised to see it go up. That shows there's a lot of instant gratification babies out there, I think.
It's really surprising too, because you realize this is the top 12 of all the 20,000 games on Steam. It's in the top 12. I mean, other games in there are Witcher 3, GTA 5, Ark, so CS:GO. So really big stuff you expect to be up there, and here's little quote unquote Warframe.
More power to
as well.
More power to Digital Extremes.
I'm surprised Path of Exiles isn't up there. Although maybe the Steam integration for Path of Exile isn't as much as Warframe. I'm not sure.
We'll get to that later. It's later on the list.
They did make the list.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm surprised they're not platinum. So.
Yeah, well, there were no games in gold. No free-to-play games, rather, in gold. Silver had Team Fortress 2, which was gold last year. War Thunder, which was silver. And Path of Exile, which was bronze. So it at least did move up a tier.
Although the other two moved down a tier.
No. War Thunder was silver. They stayed the same.
Oh, okay.
Team Fortress 2
went down a tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I'm that surprised by. I don't think there's anything shocking about those three being in that tier for me.
Yeah. Like I agree with Zach. I could have seen Path of Exile up a little bit in gold, but they do have their own launcher. They do have off their own things. Maybe they get more sales off of that. So.
And they had their own launcher for a very long time, too.
Yep.
The Steam launch of Path of Exile wasn't all that long ago. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but they had their own launcher for a long time before they were on Steam. So, finish it up. Any surprises in the final tier there?
Bronze list has Smite, which was silver last year. Going down a little bit. And then two new games.
Put a Battle Royale mode in it.
And then two new games due to the list, Shadowverse and Paladin. So at least hi-rez gets a little bit of extra love there.
If you love it,
happy to see Shadowverse in there. It's pretty neat.
If you love it, then you should have put a Battle Royale in it. That's gonna be my
song.
That's gonna be my new hit song.
If you love it, then you should put a Battle Royale in it.
I'll work out the lyrics so that it fits a little better. But it's gonna be something like, God, that would have like 60 million hits, and it would have more downvotes than the Artifact trailer. All right, so Steam raking in the money, but let's get to what we thought our good news of the week was with our weekly bombs. Go ahead, Zach.
Good news of the week. I'm going to give a dub bomb to Assassin's Creed Origins.
This is totally surprising to me coming from you.
Yes, very surprising. Okay, so my history with Ubisoft is the following. Loved Assassin's Creed 1, loved Assassin's Creed 2, hated everything after that. Syndicate, I felt a little bit warmer towards, but with Assassin's Creed Origins, the reason why I didn't originally buy it at launch was I was worried that with everything that they changed in the game, it was going to feel like Black Flag to me, which felt not at all like an Assassin's Creed game. Lo and behold, this is exactly what the franchise needed. I mean, the combat is absolutely excellent now. There could be more gore like the previous games had. Like when I, smack someone with an axe and it does an execution, I would love to see it, head fly off there. That'd be very satisfying. But I can look away from that because it's in Egypt. It's amazing. I scaled a pyramid yesterday. It was awesome. And the view distance in the dang thing is just absolutely incredible. I mean, I was on top of the pyramid and I was able to see a city that was way across the other zone. It was just, it's a breathtaking and very, very fun game.
He sounds like
the only bad thing is the DRM. That's the only thing that's bad.
He sounds like a kid. I love it. I love when people get excited about like dorky video games and stuff like that. I love it, Zach. And I actually enjoyed Origins too, and I hadn't played the previous 2 Assassin's Creeds. I stopped a few games in. I was just done. But something about Origins in Egypt made me pick it up too. I also enjoyed it. So Zach gives it a 9.8 out of 10. To get those last 0.2, it needs more decapitation. Go ahead, Jason, with your weekly bomb.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to Stardew Valley. That's what I got for Christmas. A little present for someone. and playing it pretty solidly, so that's been my game of choice for the past week or so.
Where's the dub bomb for your potato peeler?
Oh, well, I talked about that last week, didn't I?
But you didn't give it a bomb.
Oh, well, dub bomb. Okay, extra dub bomb to the potato peeler then, to all my Christmas gifts.
All right. I'm going to give a dub bomb to CCP. You got to love that there's a new mystery MMO being made in the works somewhere.
Sure it is.
But wait.
Sure it is.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I do remember what happened with World of Darkness. So, the bomb? Maybe? From the viewers, Void says, my most anticipated MMO of 2018 is Bless Online. I am not a troll. I think that I am not a troll is there for Troy's benefit.
Probably.
Just to make sure. Jason, go ahead, take the next one.
Frumblefoot says, hey, big companies, I'm listening to you, listening to feedback, and I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
It's a reference to all the, we're listening to the feedback, and we're going to adjust as needed, all that stuff we were hearing from
Activision Blizzard's doing a lot of it, ArenaNet doing a lot of it, EA doing a lot of it. Lots of people listening, nothing getting done. Go ahead, Zach.
Michael Luiselli? I don't know.
Luisel.
Hey, guys. Luisel? Okay. Hey guys, love the show. Welcome back from your holiday break. Monetization sucks. They should have stayed buy to play. Why not just put a set price, whether it's bought and attainable by grinding for? If the customer didn't want to wait and grind for it, $10 to $20 per amount, bam.
Yep, we tend to agree on all of these things. Shadow Wolf, question for Troy. Are you doing the first look Bless Online? If yes, go buy popcorn and watch it. I know Troy answered Shadow Wolf on YouTube, but I wanted to bring that up here too. We have already mapped this out on previous free-to-play casts. Yes, there will be a first look as soon as we have access to Bless Online. Yes, it will be Troy. I will also be there. And I don't care what that game does right or wrong. During that first look, I will be talking about how great each and every aspect of that game is. Even menus, just to piss Troy off. Shadow Wolf continues on. Question for the hosts. Is it okay to have both a Kickstarter and a Patreon at the same time? Why they ask is they see lots of Kickstarters that have Patreons in their frequently asked questions. I'll go first since I happen to read it. Sure, I'm totally fine with it. I tend to think that the market dictates whether or not both of those are going to actually net you anything or not. And if enough people don't like that you have both, it's going to cost you money and eventually you'll take one away. So if you want to put up both and your product's good enough to warrant both and people want to support both, the market will show that. If your product sucks or people don't like the idea that you have both, they're going to tell you and only support one or not support any, and you'll probably change your practice. So if you want to put up both, to me, more power to you. Go for it. Jason?
Yeah, the only thing, I don't have a problem with it. The only thing is I wouldn't do both at the same time because Kickstarter is limited.
Personally.
Yeah, Kickstarter is limited, a limited time, so you wouldn't want to have that. You wouldn't want to have people donate to your Patreon instead because you got to get all that. You got to get all the Kickstarter money at once. So I would do a Kickstarter and then maybe later do a Patreon for, continuing costs of your server development or whatever. So
I agree. If I was doing a particular project, that's the way I would do it. I just don't have a problem with companies that don't do it that way. Zach?
I'd prefer not, just because I don't want every game to become Star Citizen, where they literally have everything that is attainable in the game for sale, and then they also have subscriptions on top of that, and then you can support them through other means on top of that. So I don't know. Just leave it with Kickstarter if you even want to do Kickstarter. I mean, there's been plenty of games that have succeeded just by doing a Kickstarter. Why overcomplicate things?
Yeah, Star Citizen hits the #1 spot again for crowdfunding. Go ahead, Jason.
Lamke says, can't forget bad PR is good PR, and this is why many game companies still make some money. If they can keep it under control in a way to bring more money on their... If they can keep it under control in a way to bring in more money on their way. That's not a sentence, but okay. This is why EA and many other game companies are lasting so long. People throw money at them with the right amount of hype.
I don't know if I agree fully. There is a limit on, and I agree. We've all heard, any press is good press. Bad press is good press. I think there's a limit when you're talking about selling products.
The inverse I've heard of that is bad PR is good if you're a small company that nobody's heard of, so now they've heard of you because you're doing some crazy thing. It's worse when you're a big company and now everybody has heard of you, so you're not really getting the word out except in a bad way. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, Zach.
Dracon says, the sad thing is that those game companies that are adding the loot boxes are looking for whales, not regular players to play their games. Yep.
Very true.
Pretty much.
Very true. Marcus has a question for Jason Winter specifically. Will Icarus Online shut down in 2018? Asking you to make another prediction here, Jason.
Are you meaning Riders of Icarus?
Will Icarus shut down? Icarus Online. I assumed it was Riders of Icarus, yes. Unless there was a specific Icarus Online game you talked about at some point that I just don't remember.
Let's see. I'm just looking at it. I'd totally forgotten about it. I'm just looking at it now. He probably remembers our terrible bomb live when I was horribly unprepared for it, but I think it can keep chugging along for another year. They're just doing sales, had an expansion, it looks like, so.
I agree. I think that one.
It's also published by Nexon, and I think if there's a Nexon game that's going to shut down in 2018, it's not going to be that one.
Go ahead, Jason.
Pixelated Donkey says, I am with Troy on this one. Fatigue will set in. The problem with I am just going to switch to another game idea is that the other game will have the same thing going on. You just won't notice it at first because until the Switch, you were not paying much attention to the new game.
What was that?
That's like, yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, he always meows like that.
It sounds like it's dying. All right, finish off the bombs there, Zach.
James Esparza says the bomb to splash damage for their coming update that removes lead and iron loadout cards. After the BS cards Unbound changes, I next to have given up on my go-to FPS hero game and have almost completely moved to Dirty Bomb now. Speaking of such. A-bomb to hi-rez for their latest dev podcast. We get a skeleton crew informing us why Cards Unbound is good and basically sitting there justifying everything. That left a really bad taste in my mouth and felt like someone punched me in the chest. I have been playing hi-rez games since Global Agenda and have dropped dollar bills on almost all of them and have even went so far to defend hi-rez when they made a few blunders in the past. But I cannot stand with what they are doing now with Cards Unbound. As a forum post titled An Open Letter from Your #1 Fan reads, quote, you once said you wanted to make free-to-play games that people want to play. Well, hi-rez, I don't want to play anymore, end quote. And the mighty words of Newbridge, F you and go to hell.
Now we've taken to quoting Troy. What is this world coming to? Question of the week last week that only one of you saw fit to answer. So, all right.
But it is our #1 fan.
Lesson learned. I won't use that question next year. Tell us about your favorite holiday gaming gift that you gave or received this year. Elusive X Treasure says, for the question of the week, it was a very game-oriented Christmas, or very happy, merry everything, as we call it in the Elusive household. Our PS2 kicked it earlier this year, so for all of us, I got a new one. For the hubby, I got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. My son got Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for his DS. He had just finished Ocarina of Time, and I received Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, which I am enjoying thoroughly. That sounds like a wonderful Christmas as far as opening up some game-related stuff there. Some great choices. Our question of the week this week, make your own MMO 2018 prediction. Put it in the comments. Make it big. Make it count. And while you're down there, don't forget to put your weekly bombs there. Da-bomb for something good. A-bomb for something bad in the world of gaming, or your question for the panel. Until next week, Zach, where can everybody find you?
I'll be throwing everyone half points on Twitter at Zach Sharps.
Jason?
First of all, I just want to go back to Elusive X Treasure's thing. It says our PS2 kicked it earlier this year.
Yeah.
You have a PlayStation 2?
Hey, don't knock it, man. PlayStation 2,
sure.
greatest selling system of all time.
But then just they bought a new one. Like, I'm sure going to get at least upgrade to a 3 or a 4.
Maybe they like their 2,
Jason. I think
Jason.
they have that. They just wanted to replace their 2.
Plus, you could probably find it for like $10 anyhow. Who cares?
Okay. All right. You can find me on Twitter at WinterTheFormal, streaming on twitch.tv/JasonWinter, where I do not play games on a PlayStation 2.
My name is Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. You can follow me personally on Twitter at MagicMan1, right below me there on the screen. While you're there, though, more importantly, follow at MMO Bomb so we can tweet all the free-to-play news right to you for giveaways, first look videos, and more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. My audio went out of sync there, like, for the last portion of the show. I don't know how, but whatever. Nobody watches anyway. They just listen to our sultry voices. And the ones that do watch want gameplay, so...